Hi, today I will be making a family recipe called Minnesotan Chow Mien. Let's first begin by washing our hands, an essential part to any recipe. Next, let's take out our measuring materials, for now, just the cups. Then, open your fridge and take out your ingredients. Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts, 2 small cans of mushrooms, 1 can bean sprouts, 4 tablespoons cornstarch, and 4 tablespoons cold water. Here we are being introduced to our first physical change of the onion being cut. The onion must be cut into very small pieces. Unfortunately, we cannot do that with a hand as that would take both too long and be quite hard on the hands. So we have chosen to use a machine to cut it far more thoroughly. After the onions have been cut, we'll move on to the celery. After taking the celery out of its bag, we're going to wash it. Cutting off the unneeded parts, both the top and the bottom. And then we will undergo another physical change of cutting by cutting the celery in half. Slicing those halves in smaller bits. The unnecessary parts of the celery, both the top and bottom, can be thrown away, and we will do so now. Next, let's get our pan. And then we'll turn on the stove, which produces an endothermic reaction. Next, we'll undergo another physical reaction by breaking up our hamburger meat and then mixing it in the pan to the pork sausage, which creates a homogeneous mixture as each particular meat cannot be distinguished. The meat will soon be showcasing the Maillard browning reaction caused by the endothermic heat from the stove. As we wait for the meat to brown, let's turn our attention to the onions. As we wish for the onions to be flavored by the meat, we will introduce them together once the meat has browned, producing a heterogeneous mixture as each aspect of the mixture is distinguishable. Both meat and onions have embarked on a physical change as they are smaller in size than their original form. Both meat and onions can undergo the Maillard browning reaction. However, due to timing, the onions have not been able to. We will now pour our pan's meat and onion contenants into a big pot. Then, as we don't want the Maillard browning reaction to continue, we will disperse the heat evenly by adding broth and turning the stove lower. We will first add our first 3 cups and then our second 3 cups, making a total of 6 cups of broth. Then we will mix. Mixing is an important part of any chemical process and results in a physical change. Next, we'll add the mushrooms and then undergo another physical change through the chestnuts' decretion in size after being put through the machine. Although the chestnuts will not be cut as small as the onions, as we wish to provide a slight crunch to them. After mixing the chestnuts in, we will add the bean sprouts and then the chunks of celery. And then our soy sauce. This is a very heterogeneous mixture as nothing is uniform about it, and we can easily see the different aspects of the ingredients. We'll bring it to a boil, and once it's become boiled, we will set a timer for 20 minutes, allowing the chow mein to simmer, and after the 20 minutes, we will add cornstarch. Now, let's make rice. First, we'll wash our rice, and then include olive oil into a rice cooker to produce surface tension, which enables the rice not to stick as much. Then, the water. Once water, heat, and rice are all combined together, the rice's cooking process becomes irreversible. The heat is caused by the rice cooker in an endothermic reaction. Up next, cornstarch. Cornstarch must be directly added to cold water before putting it into the soup, as if it were directly added into the soup, it would clump up and be unable to thicken the liquid as we want it to. However, in liquid form, it does as it should and thickens the chow mein. After 20 minutes, we will include this cornstarch liquid and mix. You can taste test if you like, add more seasoning. We usually take a cup to see if we would like to add anything extra. All that's left is to plate with rice, add the chow mein on, and finally, finish off with crunchy chow mein noodles. And there you go! You have your own Minnesotan chow mein. Enjoy! Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts, 2 small cans of mushrooms, 1 can bean sprouts, 4 tablespoons cornstarch, and 6... No. Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts, 6 small cans of mushrooms, 1 can bean sprouts, 4 tablespoons cornstarch, and oh my god, that's a shit ton to say. Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts. Our recipe calls for 1 pound pork sausage. No. Hamburger. Oh, come on. Do we really need that? No, we don't. I don't want that. Oh, does anyone want that? It's an extra noise. Oh. Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts, 6 small cans of mushrooms. No, two small cans of mushrooms. Our recipe calls for 1 pound hamburger meat, 1 pound pork sausage, 1 small onion, 6 cups beef broth, 1/3 cup soy sauce, 1 head of celery, 1 can water chestnuts, 2 small cans of mushrooms, 1 can bean sprouts, 4 tablespoons cornstarch, and 4 tablespoons cold water.